Millionaire's incredible journey. Twins discovered in a snowstorm transform his life in 30 days. Jack Thompson stared out of the window of his sprawling mansion as the first snowflakes began to dance in the wind. His lavish abode was filled with elegant decor, but tonight it felt like a gilded cage. All the wealth he had accumulated over the years was meaningless without joy. Each business event, each stiff cocktail hour with fellow millionaires, echoed his loneliness. Their hollow laughter merged into a symphony of shallow banter. He felt restless, hollow. What was happiness? As the snow began to blanket the quaint Midwestern town, Jack found himself yearning for something deeper, something real. But fate had other plans. That night, as the blizzard intensified, icy winds rattled his car. Jack maneuvered carefully through swirling white, his heart racing, not only from the excitement of winter but from a gnawing sense of restlessness. Suddenly, two small figures flickered in the glow of his headlights, lost souls fighting against the elements. Jack pulled over, his heart pounding. There, shivering and wide-eyed, were Mia and Max, identical twins lost in a storm. Panic gripped them, and Jack couldn't ignore the instinct to help. He opened his car door, inviting them into his warm sanctuary, unknowingly inviting chaos into his carefully curated life. Once inside, the twins breathed life into the mansion. Their laughter became a melody that had long since faded into silence. They painted the walls with joy, turning meals into wild adventures and evenings into storytelling sessions filled with wonder. Jack felt a flicker of purpose ignite something he thought had long been doused by the weight of corporate ambition. Happiness felt tangible again. Yet it wasn't easy. The twins carried unshakable shadows of their tumultuous past. On some days, their laughter was tinged with sadness, as old memories pulled them away just when Jack tried to connect. Each retreat left him confused, questioning. Why couldn't he reach them? Frustration bubbled beneath the surface, pushing him toward despair. Just as stability seemed attainable, scandal erupted. A family issue involving his arrogant relatives threatened everything he built around Mia and Max. Their whispers, filled with disdain, cut deep. What was the worth of money when his heart was tangled in loyalty and love? Jack found himself ruminating over what love truly meant in a world where wealth dictated so much. Mia and Max began to reveal their strength, resilience shining through their hurt. They inspired him to confront his family's toxic legacy, challenging the very essence of what he once aspired to uphold. As their bond deepened, a community rallied around them, warm souls who ignited a flicker of hope amid despair. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As Jack prepared to fight for Mia and Max, they dropped a bombshell that froze time. Their past held devastating secrets that could tear them apart, secrets he had no idea were lurking beneath their smiles. Jack's heart raced as he faced a harrowing question. How could he mend their broken pieces when his own heart felt so fragile? The winds howled outside, pulling him deeper into uncertainty. Would this storm tear them apart? Or would they rise together, stronger than ever? Jack sat in the dim light of the living room, grappling with the weight of the twins' revelation. The air felt thick, heavy with unspoken truths. Mia and Max were perched at the edge of the couch, eyes wide and filled with a mixture of fear and hope. He could see how the shadows of their past flickered on their faces like the dancing flames of the fire, casting light but just barely. What do you mean, secrets? Jack managed to ask, his voice barely a whisper. The words hung in the air, waiting for a reply that could shatter or heal. Max clenched his fists, glancing at Mia, who took a deep breath before speaking. Before the storm, we were living in a place that wasn't safe. Our mom, she was in trouble. It's why we were out there that night. Jack felt as if the ground beneath him swayed. He didn't know how to respond. I didn't he know the embarrassment stung, and his heart ached for the kids. They had plowed through a life filled with hardship, and here he was, a millionaire wrapped in his own silks and problems, feeling utterly clueless. Mia's eyes shone with unshed tears. We thought we could escape, that maybe someone would care enough to help us. The confession hung heavy in the room, ripping at Jack's insides. His instinct to protect swelled within him, threatening to overflow. Care. I want to help you both. Whatever you need, whatever it takes, but what if you can't fix it? Mia interrupted, her voice thick with emotion. What if you find out things that push you away from us? Jack's heart raced. This wasn't just an affair of the heart. It was a reckoning. A reckoning he wasn't sure he was prepared for. Together, we can face this, he said, though uncertainty colored his words. I promise I'll stand by you. Max's brows knitted together. You might say that now, but you won't understand how deep it goes. We're scared, Jack. What if you see who we really are and don't want us anymore? The room felt colder, and Jack could sense the impending storm, darker than the one raging outside. Maybe knowing the truth will make us closer, he ventured carefully. But deep within, doubt gnawed at him. What would it mean for his carefully curated life? Just then, a knock echoed through the hallway, loud and jarring against the silence. Jack turned, the sound pulling him out of his thoughts. The twins exchanged worried glances, and a knot tightened in his stomach. Stay here. I'll see who it is, Jack instructed, his tone more authoritative than he felt. He moved cautiously toward the door, each step heavy with the weight of trepidation. Fear gripped him. What if it was someone from his family? Ready to unleash the chaos he had tried so hard to escape? He opened the door, and his breath caught in his throat. Standing there was a figure he never expected, a familiar face from his past. Someone who had once occupied a cozy corner of his heart. Jack, they said, their voice a blend of shock and sorrow. We need to talk. The moment felt electric, charged with all the unresolved emotions of yesteryears. The truth of the twins hovered behind him, unspoken and raw, as Jack grappled with the new reality unfolding at his doorstep. Would this reunion unravel what he was building with Mia and Max, or would it lead to the answers he had been seeking? He felt a flicker of hope pierce through the uncertainty. It was time to uncover the truth, no matter what it held. The storm outside may have been furious, but within him, a different kind of storm was brewing, ready to challenge everything he thought he knew about family, love, and his own heart's resilience. With a mix of defiance and curiosity, he turned back toward the twins. Nothing can tear us apart, not now, he declared, ready to face the tempest. But deep down, Jack wondered, could he handle the secrets that were about to come crashing in? Jack stood at the threshold, his heart thundering against his ribcage. The figure at the door was unmistakable Alicia, his first love, staring back at him with eyes that mirrored his own surprise. Years had drifted between them. Now, in the dim light of his hallway, it felt like a life-changing tidal wave was about to crash over him. Jack, she started, her voice trembling slightly. I didn't think I'd ever find you here. Not after everything. He swallowed hard, feeling the weight of history hang between them like an old, dusty curtain. What are you doing here, Alicia? His voice was steadier than he felt. He wasn't prepared for this. I had to come. I need your help, she said, leaning slightly, as if the weight of her words might topple her. Things are complicated, and I wouldn't come at all if it weren't urgent. Behind him, the twins shifted restlessly on the couch. Jack's mind raced. He had opened the door to a past he thought he'd left behind, a past that held bitterness but also sweetness. He couldn't bring her ruins into the fragile space he was trying to build with Mia and Max. Can we talk later? Jack asked, unable to shake the feeling that the conversation he ought to have wasn't about the moment at all but about lost time, choices made, and the looming storm. Jack, please. Her voice cracked, drawing him back. Something's wrong. I wouldn't have come unless I thought you needed to know. Feeling the urgency in her tone, he hesitated, then stepped aside, allowing Alicia to enter. Jack could freshly recall the warmth of their memories, the laughter shared in sunlit parks, the way they daydreamed about their future, woven deep into the fabric of their young hearts. But that was long ago, faded into the dust of innocence lost. "Take a seat," he gestured, noticing the twins' cautious glances darting between them. As Alicia settled into an armchair, Jack turned to Mia and Max. "Everything's okay. At least I hope it will be." He tried to project confidence he didn't entirely feel. "Talk to me about what's going on." Mia's brows furrowed, and Max's fists relaxed enough to show the tension slipping from his shoulders. "Jack, who is she?" Jack felt cornered. "Someone from my past." He inhaled sharply, unsure. "She's complicated." "Complicated?" Mia challenged, her voice rising slightly. "Is that why you just got so tense? Because we just opened up to you, and now someone comes back from your past?" Max's hand gripped Mia's. The hurt was palpable. They already feared that sharing their secrets would push Jack away. Would he now drift as far from them as he had with Alicia once? Jack sensed the impending fracture. "No, this is different," he assured them, feeling an urgency of his own. "I want to be here for both of you." He turned back to Alicia, who was watching with a mixture of concern and something softer that echoed the tenderness of their shared history. "Why don't you start by telling me what's going on?" Jack's tone softened. Alicia inhaled deeply, her gaze piercing through him. "It's about my family. I've been trying to keep it together." But before she could continue, a thunderous boom outside interrupted, shaking the walls and heart alike. Jack felt the air change, heavy with foreboding. "Jack, it's worse than you think," Alicia said, her face pale. "There's more to reveal, things that could change everything for you." For Mia and Max, Jack gripped the edge of the table, struggling against rising dread. He had sought to uncover the truth, but now he wasn't sure he was ready for what that truth might be. How would he navigate the entwined past and present without losing anyone in between? Silence filled the room, thick with uncertainty. Jack took a breath, knowing he had little choice left. "Then tell me," he said quietly, "because I think we all deserve the truth, whatever it may be." But as Alicia opened her mouth, Jack noticed Mia and Max exchange glances filled with fear. The real question loomed heavily in the air: could they withstand the powerful currents of new revelations, or would they be swept away by all the secrets crashing through their lives? Alicia hesitated, her eyes darting to Mia and Max before settling back on Jack. There was a tremor in her voice as she finally spoke. "Jack, my brother is in trouble. He got involved with some dangerous people and now they're after him. I thought I could handle it, but I can't do this alone." Max's eyes widened, the tension in the room thickening. "Wait, what do you mean, dangerous people? Is he in danger right now?" "Right now," Alicia confirmed, her voice barely above a whisper. "I didn't know where else to turn. I can't go to the police. They're too involved already. It's a mess." Jack felt the blood drain from his face. This was more than he had bargained for, more than he knew how to process. The past tugged at him, a weight he couldn't shake off. "So what do you want from me?" Alicia looked down, her hands trembling in her lap. "I need your help to find him. Maybe we can get him out of this. I thought if anyone could understand, it would be you." Mia broke the silence, her expression shifting from confusion to concern. "Jack, do you really think we should get involved in something this dangerous? Sounds like a lot way more than we signed up for." Jack glanced at the twins, their worry etched on their faces. He had fought so hard to create a safe space for them. But here they were on the brink of danger with Alicia, pulling him back into a world he had left behind. "Alicia, I want to help," he said slowly. "But I can't put Mia and Max at risk. They're my priority." She nodded, her eyes filling with tears. "I understand, but if we don't act now, suddenly..." The sound of a loud crash resonated outside, causing everyone to jump. Jack glanced toward the window, fear creeping in. "What was that?" "I don't know." Alicia's voice trailed off as she stood up, moving instinctively towards the door. "Wait," Jack called, panic rising in his chest. "You can't just go out there. We don't know what's happening." But she was already at the door, turning back with a determined look. "I can't sit here. I need to find him, Jack. I'm not going to lose anyone else." Before he could protest, she swung open the door. The brisk air rushed into the room, bringing with it the scent of rain and a hint of something ominous. The sky was cloaked in dark clouds, flickerings of lightning illuminating the street. "Jack," Mia said, her voice barely above a whisper. "This is getting really serious. Maybe we should call someone no one can help," Alicia interjected, glancing back toward them, desperation in her eyes. "You don't understand. If they find him before we do," Jack's heart raced as the weight of her fear settled heavily in the room. He wanted to comfort her, but uncertainty gripped him. Every fiber of his being told him to protect Mia and Max. "Let us just take a beat," he said, his voice steadying as he stepped toward Alicia. "We need a plan. We can't rush into this blindly." "Okay," she replied, her voice trembling but hopeful. "I don't want to complicate things for you. I just didn't know who else to turn to. If we work together, I know we can." Suddenly, a sharp knock echoed, interrupting her words. Jack felt his pulse quicken as he exchanged glances with Mia and Max. Was it a friend or a foe? "Who is it?" he called out, dread creeping up his spine. Another knock followed, more insistent this time. Jack's instincts screamed at him to be cautious. "Alicia, stay back," he instructed, moving closer to the door. As he cautiously turned the knob, he felt a flicker of fear rip through him. What awaited him on the other side? Would this next moment change everything for better or worse? Before he swung the door open, one thought struck him harder than the storm outside. Was he ready to dive headfirst into this chaos? Not just for Alicia, but for the twins as well? He hesitated for a split second, then pushed the door wide open, bracing himself for whatever lay ahead. The door creaked as it swung open, revealing a tall figure cloaked in a dark raincoat. Jack's heart raced as he instinctively stepped back, shielding Mia and Max behind him. The stranger's face was obscured by the shadows of the hood, but the tension in the air was palpable. "Who are you?" Jack demanded, his voice firmer than he felt. The last thing he needed was an unexpected visitor adding to the chaos. "Relax, Jack," the figure replied, pulling back the hood to reveal a familiar face. It was Sam, an old friend from what felt like another lifetime. "I'm not here to cause trouble." Jack's shoulders relaxed slightly, and his anxiety shifted to confusion. "Sam? What are you doing here? It's late, and they're coming for her brother," Sam interrupted, stepping inside, rain dripping from his clothes onto the floor. "I overheard things. You need to listen. Fast." Alicia's breathing quickened. "Listen to what?" Sam shut the door behind him and turned toward Alicia. "I met some guys connected to the people your brother is involved with. They're looking for him. If they suspect you're trying to save him, well, it won't end well. You're all in danger just by being here." Mia's hand slipped into Jack's, and he felt her fear translate through the touch. He could see the panic in Alicia's eyes, and it gripped him like a vice. "What can we even do?" he asked, urgency in his voice. "I can't risk Mia and Max. We need to be smart about this." "I know," Sam replied, pacing the cramped living room, his hands gesturing animatedly. "But we don't have much time. You have a place to go. A safe house. It'll give you the chance to think of a plan." "A safe house?" Alicia echoed, her eyes narrowing with skepticism. "Where? Is it really safe?" "Yeah," Sam said, his expression serious. "It's out in the woods, my uncle's cabin. No one will think to look there as long as we're careful." Jack exchanged glances with Mia and Max. There it was again, the call of danger, mixed with a stirring sense of duty to help Alicia. But the thought of putting the twins in harm's way was almost unbearable. "Alicia," Jack said, his heart pounding, "are you sure you want to go through with this?" Alicia nodded, a fierce glint in her eye despite the fear. "I'm not losing him, Jack. Not again." "Then we have to move. Right now," Sam said, urgency in his tone. "Grab anything you need. We can't waste time." Jack could see the twins' uncertainty dancing behind their usual bravery. He could feel the heaviness of the moment press on them all, like the palpable weight in the air right before a storm. "Are you guys ready?" he asked, trying to instill some sense of courage. Mia squeezed his hand tighter while Max nodded, though a shadow of doubt flickered in his eyes. They were scared just like he was. But they were also in this together. That much was clear. As they gathered essentials, Jack's mind raced. He was being pulled once again into a world he had desperately tried to escape. A world filled with secrets and dangers. And now the stakes were higher than ever. The twins depended on him, and here was Alicia, looking to him for hope. "Okay, let us go," Jack finally said, taking a deep breath. They slipped out of the apartment and into the stormy night, determination battling against the fear that gnawed at him. But as they stepped out, a flicker of headlights turned the corner, and Jack felt his stomach drop. Was it them? "Get down," he shouted, instinctively pushing the twins behind him. They all ducked for cover. Adrenaline surged through him as he realized they were already in the thick of danger. "What do we do now?" Mia whispered, wide-eyed. He glanced at Alicia and Sam, and in that moment, he knew the choices before them had led to this very moment. What lay ahead was uncertain, but they had to move fast. With a hint of defiance lighting his chest, Jack made another decision. "We don't run. We stand and fight if we have to." But deep inside, he wondered if this was the right choice. What if the fight was already lost before it began? As headlights drew closer, tension crackled in the air. A confrontation loomed just beyond. The darkness. This was merely the beginning. Jack held his breath, muscles tense as the headlights pierced the darkness like a harbinger of doom. He could hear the soft thump of rain against the pavement, mixing with the pounding of his heart. The shadows around them felt alive, crawling with danger. "Whoever it is, we can't let them find us here," he hissed, looking over at Sam. The intensity in Sam's eyes mirrored his own. They both understood the risk. Out of instinct, Jack crouched lower, making sure the kids were shielded from view. Mia's grip tightened around his hand, her small fingers trembling. He met her gaze, trying to find words of reassurance. "It's okay, Mia. Just stay close," he murmured, though he wasn't sure he believed it himself. The vehicle rolled closer, its engine growling ominously. He prayed it wasn't too late for them. It felt like time stood still as the glow of the headlights illuminated their hiding spot. Jack could barely make out a figure hunched over the steering wheel, glaring ahead as if sensing their presence. "Do you think they're looking for us?" Alicia whispered, her voice strained. Jack could see her fear intertwining with determination, like branches tangling in the wind. "I don't know," he admitted, each word pulling his conscience tighter. "But we have to be ready for anything." As the sound of the engine faded slightly, the first signs of hope flickered in his chest. Maybe they were just passing through. But before Jack could breathe a sigh of relief, the headlights sliced through the darkness, coming to a stop right by the entrance of the alley. A figure emerged, tall and broad-shouldered, wearing a leather jacket. Jack recognized that silhouette all too well, and an icy chill ran through him. "No, it can't be," he muttered, because he knew him, knew the danger he brought. "Stay down," he whispered urgently, feeling the weight of his own fear bleed into the kids. Sam's expression changed, and he nodded, suddenly alert. They were all in this together, but would it be enough? Jack's instincts kicked in. "We need to move. Now." He grabbed Mia's hand and ushered Max toward the rear of their hiding spot. Alicia grabbed her brother's things, scrambling to follow, but they had to be silent. He dared a glance back to see the figure pacing, pulling out his phone, tapping furiously. "Come on," Jack urged in a whisper. Just as they made it to the edge of the alley, Jack felt an overwhelming surge of dread. "We can't let them see us," he repeated, adrenaline coursing through him as he edged closer to the street, his heart still thudding wildly. The moment felt fragile, like a spider's web about to snap. Jack calculated every movement quickly, knowing precious seconds could change everything. The figure ahead looked up. Did he see them? "Quick!" Sam whispered, urgency radiating from him. They all slipped into the shadows, hearts racing as they dashed back towards safety. But as they sprinted, a shout echoed behind them. The figure had spotted them. "Stop!" The voice barked, authority laced into every syllable. Jack's heart dropped. This was the moment he feared, the moment they became prey. He chanced another look over his shoulder to see the figure barreling toward them. Adrenaline surged again, propelling Jack forward. "Run!" he yelled, throwing caution to the wind. They bolted down the street, the rain pouring down like a curtain to mask their escape. Jack felt the pull of fear and fight inside him. The twins were with him, and they needed to survive. In the distance, the cabin loomed just a beacon of hope in the storm. But as they ran, Jack's thoughts spiraled. What if they couldn't reach it in time? What if the fight had already started without them? Did they even have a chance at winning? With the pounding threats close behind and panic rising, Jack's resolve hardened. This wasn't just about survival, it was about doing what was right. As the darkness swallowed them, he could only hope it wouldn't be too late to save Alicia's brother and themselves too. And in that moment of courage, he wondered, did bravery come from fear, or did fear always precede courage? Just how far would they go to protect one another? The rain fell heavier, the world around them melding into a blur of shadows and sound. Jack pulled Mia and Max closer, feeling their small bodies trembling against him. Each step felt like it could betray them, the slick pavement threatening to slip beneath their feet. The cabin was just ahead, a glimmer of hope, but it felt so far away. "Keep moving," he urged, his voice barely rising above the rain. The echoed command felt sharper now, slicing through the panic that threatened to engulf them. But every footfall was a countdown, and Jack's heart raced. Ahead, the cabin stood like a lighthouse in the storm. But it also loomed with an unsettling weight. Would it truly be a sanctuary, or a trap? As they approached, Jack's mind raced through the chains of past events that twisted the paths of their lives. Each memory felt heavy, saturated with loss and pain, but there was no time to dwell on them. Not now. Just as the door came into view, a sharp sound cut through the night, the unmistakable crack of a branch snapping underfoot. Jack froze. "Go!" he shouted, forcing his legs to move again. Sam was already a step ahead, pushing the door open, urgency painting his features. Inside, the air was thick with the scent of wood and something else, fear mingled with desperation. "We need to barricade it," Jack shouted, his voice hoarse but commanding. They hurried inside, Sam and Alicia grabbing furniture while Jack strained to feed the fear roaring in his chest into action. "Move faster," he yelled, his voice echoing in the cramped space as he realized how vulnerable they still were. The last thing they needed was a confrontation. Once the door was bolted and secured, Jack leaned against it, feeling every heartbeat thrum through him. The adrenaline started to wane, leaving behind a knot of fatigue and vertigo. This was supposed to be a safe place, wasn't it? He scanned the room and caught a glimpse of Mia's wide eyes. "Jack, what's happening?" she asked, her voice quivering. He knelt down to her level and forced a reassuring smile, though it felt plastic. "We're safe inside, Mia. Promise." "Is he coming after us?" she asked, fear evident in every syllable. Jack hesitated, the weight of her question freezing him in place. He didn't know which she meant, whether it was the man in the leather jacket or someone else altogether. "He won't find us here," he said, pushing his voice to be steady. But deep down, Jack wasn't sure if he'd be able to keep that promise. A thud resonated from the direction of the door, shaking Jack from his thoughts. "Did you hear that?" Sam's eyes darted towards the sound. "I did," Jack replied, a chill creeping down his spine. Everyone turned toward the door, breath held suspended like a delicate glass. Another thud reverberated, louder this time, and Jack felt the ground beneath him shift. There was no way he could let them see fear in his eyes. He had to protect them. "Get back," he commanded, stepping in front of the kids as another heavy strike rattled the door. It wouldn't hold forever, and time was slipping through their fingers like water. "What do we do?" Alicia asked, her hand gripping a chair as if it were a weapon. "We fight," Jack said, his voice fierce as thunder. "Or we flee if we have to. But we don't give up. Not now." The storm outside picked up again, and it felt like a crescendo matching their impending dread. Then, silence hung heavy in the air. But it was almost worse than the noise and ominous calm that made Jack's skin prickle. "Should we look?" Mia whispered, her voice barely audible. "Not yet," he said, scanning the room for an escape route. They couldn't stay here forever. We wait for now. But with every passing second, the fear inside him coiled tighter. What if they were trapped here? And in that moment, a thought struck him, sharp as ice. If they survived this night, what lay ahead? Would they ever be free from the storm that followed them? The silence shattered suddenly, the door splintering under another blow. Jack's heart sank, and he braced himself for what was about to come. "Are you ready?" he asked, gathering all his courage, knowing this could be their only chance. But as the door buckled, in his heart, he wondered, were they truly prepared for the fight that awaited them? The door lurched again, a violent, splintering crack that sent splinters flying across the small room. Jack's breath hitched, adrenaline coursing through him. He realized that each moment felt heavier, suffocating under the weight of their fear. "Get ready," he urged, his heart thundering in his ears as he scanned their surroundings. The flimsy furniture they had piled against the door was now looking like little more than a token gesture. He could practically feel the urgency boiling over, twisting in his gut. "Where is Sam?" Jack asked, quickly glancing around the cabin. Mia clutched Max tightly, her eyes darting from Jack to the door. "I'm right here," Sam shouted, his voice breaking through the chaos. He was crouched behind a heavy wooden table, trying to catch his breath. "I can help. Just tell me what to do." "Find something heavier," Jack barked, desperation bleeding into his tone. "We need to fortify the door. Now." As Sam scrambled to grab a large dresser, Jack turned back toward the door that was now beginning to bow under the relentless pressure. Alicia moved closer to Mia and Max, their little forms intertwined in a protective embrace. They were so small, and yet Jack felt their strength pushing through. He needed to stay strong for them. Would they look back at him one day, searching for memories of a hero? Or would they remember the fear, the uncertainty? The door slammed again, and it splintered more this time, the crack splitting through the silence like thunder. A low growl echoed from the outside, vibrating through the wood and making Max jump. What was that? He breathed, his eyes wide with terror. Jack forced a comforting smile. "Let us not think about that. Just stay close to each other, okay?" Each word took effort, as his mind raced with potential outcomes. They needed a plan. As if sensing his thoughts, Alicia's eyes locked onto his. "Do we fight or do we run?" "Both," he replied, his voice more confident than he felt. "But we need to figure out our escape route before the door goes down completely." Mia tugged on Jack's sleeve, her eyes shimmering with unshed tears. "Daddy, I'm scared." His chest tightened. "I know, honey, but I need you to be brave for me, just a little while longer." Suddenly, another crash sent a shock wave through the cabin. The door barely held, but Jack could see the hinges pulling free. "Guys, quickly," he shouted as he moved toward a window, tugging it open just enough for them to fit through. "This way now, Jack." Sam's voice was strained, panic flaring as he wrestled with the dresser. "I can't hold this much longer. Let it go. We have to get out." Jack barked, urgency clawing at him. They were running out of time and options. In that frantic moment, as they all began moving toward the window, the door gave one final protest before bursting open. Jack turned, ready to confront whatever awaited them. The storm rushed in, carrying with it the figure silhouetted in the downpour. It was a face Jack recognized, one that sent ice through his veins, but no time to process. He pulled Mia and Max through the window desperately, urging Sam and Alicia to follow him as they dropped down into the mud outside. Jack couldn't shake the sensation that this was just the beginning. Something darker was looming. What were they running from, really? The storm surged around them, chaos consuming their senses. Jack gathered the kids close, warding off the creeping dread. "Stay tight," he commanded, but in the depths of his mind, uncertainty pulsed. Was the nightmare finally over, or was a greater danger now closing in? And just ahead loomed the trees, twisted and gnarled, shadows dancing like specters. Jack had to make a choice. "This way," he shouted, leading them into the darkness with every heartbeat pounding like a war drum. But just as hope ignited a flicker in his chest, A voice called out from behind them, thick with malevolence. "You can't hide forever." Jack, the realization set in, cold and sharp, like the wind whipping around them. The fight had only just begun. The trees loomed like ancient guardians, their skeletal branches clawing at the stormy sky. Jack kept moving, every step a calculated escape from the fear now trailing them like a shadow. He felt Mia and Max gripping his hands tightly, their small fingers trembling against his palm. "Run!" he shouted, his voice echoing through the howling wind, urging everyone forward. Sam and Alicia followed close behind, their breath visible in the frigid air as they stumbled through the underbrush. "Why did you have to come back?" Sam panted, glancing over his shoulder. Jack felt the weight of the question, a surge of regret surging through him. He never wanted this. He never wanted to bring them to this moment of despair. "We'll deal with that later," Jack snapped, his heart racing. The voice behind them hung heavy like a dark cloud. They needed to gain distance. He picked up the pace, adrenaline powering his legs through the mud and debris. Suddenly, Mia let out a small cry. "Daddy, my shoe!" Jack didn't hesitate. "Keep going," he urged, knowing they could not afford to stop. "I'll get it." Just as he turned back, a distant roar erupted like an animal unleashed, charging through the woods. It sent a jolt of dread coursing through him. The danger wasn't just outside. It was coming for them. He scoured the ground, searching for her lost shoe, heart pounding against his ribcage like it was trying to escape. And there it was, half buried in mud, a small relic of innocence in this harrowing moment. He snatched it up, glancing around wildly, trying to gauge how much time they had. "Jack, hurry!" Alicia's voice sliced through the gloom as she grabbed Sam's arm, her fear palpable. The urgency in her tone made his blood run cold. He sprinted back to them, slipping slightly on the sodden ground, but he caught himself just in time. "Let us go," he yelled again, shoving the shoe into Mia's hands as they began to weave through the trees. Ducking under low branches, zigzagging through the darkness, a chilling wind howled, and Jack felt the creeping terror tightening its grip. They were running blind, and the forest felt alive around them, challenges hiding in every shadow. "Keep close. We stay together," he emphasized, knowing that separation meant certain death. They pressed on, the trees becoming a tunnel of shadow, each step echoing a frantic pulse. Jack concentrated on the rhythm of their feet on the ground, a sound of survival against the chaotic backdrop of nature's fury. But then he heard it again, the voice, whispering through the woods like a ghost. "You can't escape." Jack, it was closer this time, and it seized his heart with icy fingers. Panic surged, and Jack's instincts took over. They needed to find shelter. "Over there," he shouted, spotting the outline of what looked like an old hunting cabin. It was barely visible in the storm, a sanctuary hidden from view. "We have to move." They rushed toward it, hope thrusting him forward, yet dread gnawed at his edges. What waited inside might be just as dangerous. Was this cabin merely a refuge from the storm, or a trap set by the horrors that chased them? As they burst through the door, Jack felt a wave of relief as well as a sense of foreboding wash over him. It was dark inside, but the air felt still, charged with something ancient. "Jack, what if it follows us in here?" Sam whispered, his fear raw and shaking. Jack swallowed hard, glancing at the empty space around them. "We prepare for anything," he said, attempting to sound braver than he felt. The quiet felt wrong. Tension hung thick. "Are we safe?" Max asked, his small face pale in the dim light, innocence shining through the darkness. Jack opened his mouth to answer, but an eerie sound from deep in the cabin made him freeze. It was a low, guttural chuckle, and it sent a cold shiver down his spine. They had entered the lair of something unknown, but hope was fading fast. What had they really walked into? Jack's heart raced as he scanned the room, sensing the oppressive weight of danger hanging in the air. He could feel the presence of something sinister. It filled the cabin like a shadow ready to pounce. "Everyone stay close," he whispered, determination lacing his voice. He nudged Mia and Max behind him, their tiny bodies pressing against him as they all huddled together. "We'll figure this out," he assured them, but the tremor in his own hands threatened to betray his confidence. He was the protector, but how could he protect them from the unknown? The laughter echoed again, a low, mocking sound. Jack's instincts screamed that whatever was lurking within these walls, it wasn't he going to let them go easily. What was that? Max asked, his voice barely a murmur. Jack gritted his teeth, his pulse hammering in his ears. I don't know, buddy, but we need to be ready for anything. The twins nodded, their fear palpable, but their trust in him and each other burned bright. Suddenly, a door creaked open behind them, sending cold air swirling in. Jack turned, bracing himself for whatever came next. A shadow lunged, but instead of a monster, Jack was met with the sight of Sam, who had scurried ahead, eyes wide with panic. I found something, he exclaimed. There's a way out through the back. Lead the way, Jack commanded. They were running out of time. The laughter morphed into a growl, reverberating through the cabin. He felt the wall closing in around him, the embrace of fear tightening like a vice. They stumbled after Sam, who flicked on a small flashlight to reveal a bewildering maze of old furniture, rusted tools, and dust-laden memories. Jack's chest tightened. Each step felt heavier, haunted by echoes of past lives embodied in the abandoned clutter. Quick! Sam whispered urgently, pointing toward a narrow escape route behind a tattered curtain. It's our best shot. They could hear the disorienting sound of footsteps approaching, an ominous reminder of the danger closing in. One by one, they slipped through, instinct guiding them into the dark. A sense of urgency propelled Jack forward as he ushered Mia and Max into the shadows. Their small forms huddled against his side. The forest whispered secrets outside, rain pattering relentlessly against the window panes as they reached a clearing. They found themselves surrounded by towering trees, shrouded in mist. We have to put some distance between us and that cabin, Jack breathed, glancing back nervously. Will it follow us? Mia asked, her voice trembling. Jack knelt, meeting her anxious gaze. No, he steadied himself. We're safe. And together we can face anything. He felt her small hand squeeze his reassuringly. The trees became a labyrinth, their branches twisting overhead like fingers curling into a fist. Now Jack had to think fast where to go, how to stay hidden. He felt a flicker of hope ignite. They would make it through this. A low howl echoed in the distance, and Jack's heart sank. Run, he urged, taking off into the woods. They raced through the underbrush, feet pounding on squishy earth, branches scratching their arms. Jack pushed forward, focusing on Mia and Max, their trust propelling him onward. Just as fatigue began to weigh him down, they emerged into another clearing. The starlit sky unfolded above them, a glimmer of safety amid chaos. Jack looked around frantically. There, that small dip in the ground. They dashed towards it, tumbling into the hollow that offered just enough cover from wandering eyes. Jack leaned against the cool earth, pulling the twins closer, feeling both courage and fear intertwining. Let us just catch our breath, he whispered, heavy breaths mingling with the sounds of the forest. But then, as Jack leaned back, a flicker of movement caught his eye, a massive shadow moving behind the trees, searching for them. Get ready, he said gravely. We have to go again. Suddenly, another howl echoed, much closer this time. Jack could almost feel the breath of danger on his neck. What do we do if it catches us? Max asked, wide-eyed. Jack's mind raced, the future stretching, like a thin line ahead of them. If it comes, we stand together. A flutter from the wind carried their breaths away, and for a brief moment, the world held its breath with them. The bond they had built over the past month surged within him, love, loyalty, strength. It all spilled into one powerful resolve. Together, Jack shouted, rallying their spirits as he transformed fear into fierce determination. Then from the shadows, Alicia emerged, breathless but alive. Jack, I'm so glad I found you, she gasped. We can't stay here long, we need to keep moving. Jack's heart lifted at the sight of her. What did you find? There's a farm nearby, she explained quickly. Family lives there. They'll help us. Then let us go, Jack urged, taking Mia's and Max's hands. ready to face whatever came next with fierce resolve. The fight was long from over, but they would face it together. This moment heralded the dawn of a new beginning, where love overcame fear, and with each step forward, they began to reclaim their lives as a family. In that moment, deep in the woods, against all odds, they had triumphed over darkness. And as they stepped into the unknown, Jack felt a weight lift off his heart. He realized at last that true wealth isn't defined by gold or power, but by the bonds forged in crisis, loyalty, and unwavering love. And so they ran, the storm behind them and countless possibilities ahead, united and unbroken. Don't let this moment slip away. You need to subscribe now to never miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. Your support makes a difference. Comment below your reactions and feelings about this ending. Share your thoughts with us. And don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who truly need to see this transformation.